Hi, everybody. This is Sean with Voices of Vaughn. We're here at St. Joseph's Brewery, and I'm here with Trey Herring, who he has Carolina Bourbon. He founded it, he started it. How many years ago, Trey?
10 years ago this past June.
10 years ago,
So
June.
June 2009.
Congratulations.
And Brendan, you are a connoisseur of the spirits, beer, wine. Brendan, yes, Brendan. Beer, wine, and spirits. And Liz, you are a local writer for the Indianapolis Star.
Food writer, yeah.
Food writer. And you've known Trey for a few years from Wilmington, North Carolina.
10 years.
We're gonna talk about Southern heritage and Southern cuisine and
And whiskey.
kind of how it all builds together. So Trey, if you'd like to talk about it, and Brendan, if you'd like to also kind of chime in when you see fit.
So real quick to kind of touch on this for me, we've already talked. I talked about I grew up, in my grandmother's kitchen, and really one of the reasons that I got into this business was because I wanted to do something that preserved, Eastern North Carolina heritage, and so really that's where it started. And for me, one way that we already in Eastern North Carolina preserve our heritage is through our cuisine. And so big thing that everybody talks about when you hear Eastern North Carolina is the barbecue. And I was fortunate enough, I worked for a place called Wilbur's Barbecue, a man named Wilbur Shirley, who had a barbecue restaurant that actually just closed. Unfortunately, just closed. But, to be able to work there for 4 years and to see the number of people that experience our culture through those doors, through eating that cuisine, eating that barbecue, there's generations of families that stopped in that restaurant. That restaurant was open for almost 50 years. And so
that's a generational thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
So for me, I think I kind of see bourbon, this product, as really just another type of cuisine, if you will. I mean, and it fits in that category for something that can continue and can preserve our heritage and our culture. And so,
Liquid art.
Yeah, liquid art.
And don't you think, too, Eastern North Carolina cuisine is very simple.
Yeah.
The flavors are very simple. So when we talk about pork barbecue, it's a whole hog cooked over coals. When we talk about fish or seafood, it's simply prepared, baked in the oven with onions and potatoes, and that's it. We don't like to muddy ingredients with a lot of different flavors.
That's right.
And I think, Trey, you've really done that with this bourbon.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of honeysuckle in North Carolina in the summertime. You
love
get that
it.
little honey, and it's so light on your tongue. And so that is Eastern North Carolina cooking. It's straightforward, it's real ingredients, and not a bunch of bells and whistles on it.
Bare bones, get to the point.
It really is.
Feed me.
Exactly.
Let me drink that.
And
Let's get it done.
A lot of the recipes, they're simple because, it was necessity.
Exactly.
Food, they couldn't afford luxury.
Sure.
I mean, you had what you caught, what you raised, what you grew. I mean, that's it. And if you didn't have that, you probably couldn't afford to get anything else. And so, and when you look at even the dishes that we have, like fish stews and deer stews and things like that, the stews were, again, necessity. And a lot of times you were using lower grade fish in the stew that maybe, was too bony or that you couldn't really cook.
And what type of fish would that have been for those types of traditional recipes?
A lot of times it was drum,
I've never heard
drum,
of drum.
channel bass,
Spots and
spots, croakers, big time croakers,
Hogfish.
which now,
I love that
what's
you two are so
funny is
dialed
that
in.
now the most amazing thing are fish that when I was growing up that we, cobia. We catch cobia. Nobody ate cobia.
would eat that. Amberjack.
You're like, amberjack.
No.
Nobody would eat it. You're like, nobody. Now, fine restaurants are preparing these fish, and it's kind of out of necessity because that's a cut of fish that the restaurant can afford and can make money on, and they do a great job. I ate cobia at RX not too long ago, and I was wow, I can't believe it.
RX in Wilmington, fantastic restaurant.
Absolutely.
That's
So
awesome. Now, do they carry your bourbon?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
He's no sucker.
It's a good. No, the chef and owner James Doss, he's actually a buddy of mine from Goldsboro.
Goldsboro.
So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
That's
so
great. And you said you live there now.
Yeah.
Again.
Back. I'm back.
And Goldsboro really is a center of Eastern North Carolina cooking.
really is,
And
yeah.
when you think about barbecue, if you're from east of I-95, you think about barbecue, in my mind, you think first about Goldsboro.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
for a long time, it wasn't just Wilbur's. There were two there.
Well, the original Eastern North Carolina barbecue restaurant was Griffin's that opened up back in the 30s or 40s. And so Wilbur Shirley actually worked for Mr. Griffin, and there were more that worked for him that learned the process. And so you got Wilbur's, you got McCall's, Parker's, Skylight Inn. I mean, you've got Grady's. I mean, there's tons of restaurants that are right there within about a 30-mile radius that are the meccas of Eastern North Carolina barbecue.
And we were just talking in the prior segment about mentors, being a mentor, find a mentor.
Yeah.
And Wilbur helped start that at Griffin's.
Yeah.
And it trickles down.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And the tradition continues to
Exactly.
grow and
Exactly.
develop as you move forward.
Exactly.
And I think what you find too in Eastern North Carolina is the younger generation does know how to cook.
Yeah.
They do know what a hog,
A
when
whole
fall
hog,
comes and there's, a hog killing, as you
Right.
were just talking about
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
What was the name of that cake?
Pig picking cake.
Pig picking cake.
It does have oranges in it. Okay.
All right, so what's some of the more favorite meals that your family made? Mom, grandma, whatever, growing up?
Ooh,
Dad,
you
whoever.
start that off.
Pig
Liz.
picking cake.
Well, we came to North Carolina originally from New Jersey, but we were sandwiched between a woman from St. Paul and another
Okay.
woman from St. Paul, which is a little tiny town in
Southern,
Eastern
right
North
on
Carolina.
the border, South Carolina
And
border.
one of them would make biscuits right on her counter, and that image lives in my mind. She just put a pile of flour on the counter,
Yep.
add some lard, work
Yep.
it with her fingers, never
Yep.
measured a thing.
Yep.
And I believe she used water. She didn't mess with buttermilk. She probably already had her leavener in there, and then put them in a pan. So we had these big summertime lunches with these two women, and there would be, see if you know these foods, rice with tomatoes on top,
Of course.
corn and okra with tomatoes stewed in a
Of course.
pot.
Yeah, of course.
There'd always be fried cornbread. You never had baked cornbread. It was
No.
always fried in a
Like
pan.
like baked cornbread. We call those muffins. Okay.
Right, and biscuits. There'd be biscuits, and your meat would be the fried fatback
Yeah.
from
Oh,
cooking the
for
greens.
sure, for
so
sure.
there's just be a little
Or
plate
ham
of
hocks,
fried
yeah.
fatback,
Yeah.
and you'd just be really crunchy and.
And then for
phenomenal.
dessert, you would take those biscuits and you would take a patty of butter and put it on your plate, pour some blackstrap molasses on it, whip it up, and then put that on your biscuit, and that's your dessert.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
I
good
want
stuff.
some right
Yeah.
now.
I do too.
Liz, make it happen.
Trey,
I make some mean
Trey,
biscuits.
what's one of your more favorite
Put some of that
dishes you
bourbon
remember
in
from
it.
growing
So
up
I mean,
in your house?
it's like I said earlier. My grandmother's fried chicken. My grandmother's fried chicken was not the type that you throw in a deep fryer that you guys get today. It was cooked in a skillet. She always cast iron, of course. The chicken could never be more than 2 pounds, which a fryer chicken should only be 2 to 2.5 pounds. Smaller chicken, fried in a cast iron skillet. And I mean, it would take time. It would take 45 minutes for her to fry chicken. But the pieces came out so perfect, and it's nothing like the fried chicken that you would get at like a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nothing like that. It was just, it was heaven. Like I'll tell you, it's like I said,
I feel the same way. So my grandmother
can't wait.
Cleo,
Yeah.
my mom's mom,
Yeah.
same stuff.
Yeah.
And think about this. My mom's one of 7.
Yeah.
So if we were going to do Sunday dinner, she'd be cooking fried chicken for hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hours. And she
Yeah.
was always the last person to sit down
Always
for
the
dinner,
last,
too.
and
always the last person.
and she'd be putting ice in your tea
Yeah.
glass, making sure
Yeah.
you had ice before she
Oh,
sat
my
down
goodness.
and ate. Yeah,
I miss her so
sure,
much,
man.
and I guarantee you miss
So
her too.
when you're enjoying your bourbon at your home, what's your favorite meal to cook for yourself?
Wow, that's great.
Chinese carryout.
Yeah, definitely. I love General Chow chicken, hot and sour soup. Pairs really well with bourbon. No, for me, I love grilling, obviously. So I love, and I've actually on my Facebook and Instagram, I've put out like my recipes for hamburgers and
that's great.
the mix that I make. I love pork chops. I don't eat a lot of steak. Mainly more of a pork. If I eat beef, it's like a hamburger. Love chicken wings, things like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm thinking though, don't you think your bourbon and a little bit of molasses mixed with that butter on a biscuit?
Ooh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Can we do
Sure.
a follow-up interview?
For sure.
Yeah.
We need to just get a kitchen and just start making some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm in. I can work in the kitchen pretty well
Okay.
too, and I love to grill as
Yeah.
well. So I'm gonna show this guy some pictures here in a minute of some 24-ounce cowboy cut bone-in ribeyes that I just did
There
last
you go.
week.
And, well, I'll tell you another dish that's also a top favorite is a shrimp burger, which I don't know if you guys have
Wait a
those
minute.
here.
You
Shrimp
ground
burger.
up the shrimp.
No, sir.
No.
No.
You fry the shrimp,
Okay.
and then you put it on a hamburger bun with some slaw, and it's called a shrimp burger.
Yep.
So it sounds like a
That's
po'
it?
boy, but in a burger form.
Pretty much. Similar. Yeah, similar.
I mean,
but
is that right? I mean, am I?
Well, no, I mean,
It doesn't
again,
have-
Eastern North
yeah.
Carolina cooking.
Sure.
You don't have to have the slaw on it. You can just have
Just a shrimp
just
burger.
bun.
a shrimp burger
Yeah.
with the bun is delicious, and you can vary. You can do an oyster burger,
Scallop
shrimp
burger.
burger,
Yeah.
scallop burger.
I'm into all this. We're
Yeah,
traveling to
good
visit
stuff.
Trey soon.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Come see, man. We got $6 super shrimp burgers right an hour away from my house.
I'm in.
Come on.
I'm in. Come on, bring it.
Well, I wanted to thank Liz for being here to give
For
her
sure,
insight
for sure.
on the
Thanks
lovely
for coming.
cuisine we
Thank
were able
you.
to have here
You've
at
been
St.
fabulous.
Joseph's Brewery. Also, Trey to be able to teach us a little about what gave him the motivation originally growing up, from the cuisine all the way to the bourbon, and obviously Brendan, always for being a great insight and motivator for these
If we're not
these
having fun,
analytical
people, I
moments
don't
of
want to be here.
bourbon
Yeah.
and food.
Well, you're still here, so it must be having fun.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.